Okay, so everyone, we are on the show 8 in Bali, and in uh, Chinese tradition, 8 mean prosper. So I hope you are having a good prosper to all of you who came to this event. Okay, so everyone is super excited today. Type number 1 on the chat, comment on the YouTube. Okay, that's great. So guys, for today, uh, on show 8, we will have 3 main speaker, which is the first one is going to be Mr. Daniel Harjanto, which is he is the VP from the production pipeline and technology from Brownbag Film, and he will present uh, the challenges with the animation industry and how to move it forward. And then after that, we will continue with Mr. Lee Hong Kit from VMW Group in Singapore, which is he's a good friend of mine, and I was in his office and just blown away with all the group that he have, which is he got the programmer and all the ArchViz and all the other division. And then the third one, we will have pre-recorded presentation from Rifle, which is Liu, Mr. Liu, and then I forgot the fourth speaker is me, and then we will continue with the panelist discussion and the Q&A. So before we continue with the Mr. Daniel presentation, just want to remind you that we Chaos Group giving a giveaway for this event, which is there are lots of free licenses. You can choose either V-Ray or Corona, and then Autodesk for 1-year license, and Cyanide software from Nigel, and then the last but not least, the amazing creative lighting masterclass from Nikos. So all you need to do is to register your name on the link on the comment, on the YouTube comment. I will give you 2 minutes to fill the form. And then if you want to have a t-shirt and like a mouse pad or other Chaos Group swag, you just need to grab your phone. Yeah, grab your phone. I know it's random. They will choose random, but I believe if you take very ugly photos, you will win. So just take photos with the chaos, with the 24-hour event, and then upload it on your Instagram or Facebook and put a hashtag 24 hours of chaos. Okay, all set? Okay, we will start with Mr. Daniel from Brownbag Film Bali presentation, and for a start, we will play the showreel by Brownbag Film Asia. Udah?
We are experiencing demographic dividend in Indonesia, and part of it is animation talent who are very strong in culture and art. Brownbag Films Bali provide an opportunity to our talents to produce high-quality animation content. Indonesian government have realized the importance of human resource and have created major policy to support human resource development, especially in animation industry. With government support, we look forward to produce more animation content for children all around the world.
The production range in Brownbag Films Bali covers from storyboarding, motion capture, assets creation, animation, lighting render, effects to final compositing. We collaborate very closely with the Brownbag Dublin studio to produce high-quality TV series and feature work. All we want to do is to make good animation. It is our passion and mission, simply because we love animation.
Okay, so Mr. Daniel, are you ready? Coba, Daniel bisa di-unmute nggak?
Yeah, hello everyone. Let me present some slide. So I'm from the studio in Bali, Brownbag Film Bali, and as a VP of Production Technology and Pipeline Asia. Let me introduce myself. I was graduated as civil engineer in 1984 and switched into computer graphic in 1989. Worked as customer support and demonstrator for Sofimage in Southeast Asia region. Then in 1992, I worked for several major post-production houses in Indonesia as 3D artists, technical managers, deputy general managers, technical directors, and management consultant. In 2005, I made a big decision. I moved to Batam Island, Indonesia as director of technology and set up a new animation studio working for the first musical animated feature film in Indonesia. In 2015, with Lily Wang, I founded BASE, Bali Animasi Solusi Eka Karsa, an animation service studio in Bali. But due to the growth of the company in 2016, we founded another company, Bali Animation Studio, to specifically cater for international service market. In 2019, Base and Bus were acquired by Nine Story Media Group, and I was appointed as VP of Production Technology and Pipeline Asia. Also, currently, I'm a member of Supervisory Board of INAKI, Indonesian Association of Animation and Creative Industry. Nine Story have 4 divisions: Nine Story Brand, Nine Story Creative Affairs, Nine Story Distribution International, Nine Story Studios or Brownbag Films, and we have 7 subsidiaries, which include Brownbag Films Bali. The topic that given or we will discuss today is actually a heavy topic, It's about the impact of pandemic in animation industry. There's a lot of issue arise with pandemic. It came so suddenly and it has big impact. But whether the impact is positive, negative, or neutral, we look into several things. The demands. It is strangely, or it is actually something that interesting to me is the demand is not declining, but increasing. There are a lot more requests or requirement for content, especially on animation, because live shoot have big disadvantage because of the pandemic. But with that demand, we also need to handle things, production, very carefully because of the pandemic. Our studio have 100% work from home within 2 weeks in March. So we have to move our workforce from our group, total almost 1,000 people, to work from home in 5 different locations: Toronto, New York, Dublin, Manchester, and Bali. We have to work from home because of the pandemic. So it is a big decision for us to do this kind of movement, because we need to decide whether we do it offline, online, or hybrid. What is offline? We just take computer from the studio and work as an offline machine at home, but there's a lot of things that we need to consider, a lot of challenge. This is so critical for us because we need to also do the information security as usual. With online, we are facing another issue. It's about the infrastructures. And also, we have approached to do hybrid because some of the process is not possible to do fully online. So the major changes is information security. In information security, we have 3 components, 3 important components. One is the confidentiality, which is easy to handle because all our data is encrypted. But we also need to have the availability of data. We have to be able to provide the data when it is needed. If the artists want to start working with their scene, all the elements, all the components need to be accessible. So that means we are dealing with probably dozen terabyte of data need to be transferred to their machines. Also, then the last component is the integrity. We can easily copy the data to their local machines, but then we lose the integrity of data. The data that they're working is not guaranteed to be the latest data that we have in the server. So it is very crucial thing for production. Also, with working from home, of course, we need to deal with productivity, how we can maintain productivity at the same level as we work in the studio, and especially with efficiency. Does it imply that the artists need to work longer hours, or is it they having difficulties to complete their tasks? And of course, the biggest challenge that we face also communication. When we work in the studio, it's easy to communicate one to each other. But when we work from home, it's a different story. It's a different situation. Imagine that our production, we have so many dots to be connected, from story concept to script to design, to storyboard, editing, story reel, modeling, shading, matte painting, texturing, rigging, preface, animation, and etc. It is so difficult to make sure that all the communication is done properly. Any delay in one process can lead into a bigger issue. And that's come with the production tracking. How do we make sure that one element is not creating obstacle for other process? One process is depending on another process. And imagine to work with more than 200 people on project. This is a nightmare. But luckily, we use shotgun to do production tracking, and it helps us a lot. And of course, the other challenge is infrastructure. Even in other locations like Toronto, Dublin, Manchester, we're still facing the same issue, the infrastructures. Some process that need frame accurate always have problem when we do remote. And of course, if we do like scrubbing, you hear the voice delay, then all your animation will be not matching. And of course, as the demand is increased in animation industry, we need more talent. So we need to do recruitment. Talent recruitment during pandemic is another challenge because people cannot move from one place to another place. So all of this creating a lot of challenge for us. But again, I believe that within this 3 months or 4 months working from home, we managed to wrap 2 shows in 1 month time. So we start sending people back to the studio. But again, as you see, we need to be careful with it, with them. So they have all the required PPE, hand sanitizer, disinfectants, and etc. And we only allow minimum people in the studio. So in that case, sometimes I have to work in this place. So I think it's something good for me. So I can see the sea, I can see the ocean, I can feel the breeze. It's only 5 miles from my house, so it's okay. I think that's part of my presentation. I put it more on question and answer, Ray. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. Mr. Daniel is very, very informative. And guys, I want you to let me know your biggest takeaway from Mr. Daniel presentation. Put it on the comment on the YouTube now. Biggest takeaways mean in Indonesia, pelajaran yang paling berharga buat kalian dari presentasinya Mr. Daniel. So any question for Mr. Daniel? Or we can save it for the panelist discussion and the Q&A section. Okay, so, there's a question from Metro. How do you encrypt your info, Mr. Daniel?
There are several encryption programs but the easiest one is the encryption that's default with Microsoft Windows is BitLocker. So all the information in the hard disk will be then encrypted by BitLocker, as long as you do not forget your passphrase, the information will be saved.
Okay, thank you very much. And how do you back up your data and how often?
The approach that we use is actually online. It's not offline. So all the data is stay in the studio. What we do is remote access to the studio using PCOIP protocol. So the backup is a standard backup procedure that we do have in our server room. It automatically back up every single day. All our server are redundant. That's is the backup we have.
Okay, so another question from Reza and Iwan will be answered during the panelist discussion. And the last question is from Isaac. I want to know a bit more on how you transform from civil engineering to CGI.
That's a long story actually. I graduated 1984. I worked for several projects as a structural engineer, including the Garuda maintenance facility in Cengkareng and elevated railway track from Manggarai to Kota in Jakarta. But again, my heart is on computer by that time. I create several element analysis programming for the structural engineering. But again, I also deal with CAD system. We use Intergraph. I use Intergraph by that time. But in 1989, I was very attracted to computer graphic. By that time, it is very new in Indonesia. It is probably the first time I use computer graphic. It's on silicon graphic machines, which costs about $200,000, which has only 32 megabyte of RAM and about 1 gigabyte of hard disk. So by that time, I use Softimage as the software for the 3D software, and luckily I was chosen by Softimage Montreal to be the demonstrator and technical support in Southeast Asia. Since
Okay.
that, I've been working about 30 years in this industry. 1989 to 2020 is 31 years, actually.
Amazing.
So it's a bit old. The first time I do animation, it's always vertex animation. So you move point by point and keyframe that point by point.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Daniel. So we are going to continue with the second presentation from Mr. Hongkit. And team, can you play the show reel for the BMW group?
Not yet. I'll share screen. Hello. Hello.
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, hello. Hi, everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank Chaos and Reinaldo from 2G for inviting our group, for enabling this platform to share our story to the world. We will share our screen for our presentation. Next one. Well, welcome to Singapore. We are a sunny island, city-state in Southeast Asia. It lies 1 degree north of the equator. As you can imagine, the weather here is sunny the whole year round. Now, people might not know how small Singapore is in comparison to other countries. California is in fact 562 times bigger than Singapore. That's how small Singapore is. According to Wikipedia, we have the second greatest population density in the world, close to 8,000 people per square kilometer. That's a lot of people. Now, by comparison, United States has only 36 people per square kilometer. As you might know, Singapore is also known as the Garden City. So it's all by careful planning, and we managed to house so many people and yet not sacrificing our green spaces. The mainland of Singapore measures 50 kilometers, 31 miles from east to west, and 27 kilometers, 17 miles from north to south. So on a good day, if I drive, it just takes 1.5 hours to drive from one end of Singapore to the other end. So you can always catch your flight in time. So within this compact size of us, right, we house close to 5.7 million residents, and up to 80% of our population stay in high-rise HDB flats, homes built by our Housing Development Board. Inside this country of ours, we have a whole lot of amenities. We have industrial zones, we have housing estates, we have reservoirs and national parks, we have shopping centers, business districts, a CBD zone, and of course, but not least, our well-loved Changi Airport. So as a small city-state, we are highly affected by world events. The tourism industry is one of our main pillars of economic growth. In 2019, just last year, 19.1 billion people visited Singapore, spending close to 27 billion Singapore dollars. On a whole, year to date, since the pandemic, visitor arrivals has plunged over 60% since September 2020. Well, we hope to welcome you all when the time is good, when everything is better. So here's our story so far. Over the 20 years of existence, VMW Group has survived through many crises. With each crisis, we seek to adapt and to change. This is my story. I started a company by myself 20 years ago. Trained in architecture, I decided to follow my passion in visualization and not the usual path of an architect. But it was not a good time to start. The Asian financial crisis was upon us. Projects were stopped or postponed. Jobs were lost and livelihood suffered. Back then, I started out by just doing renderings with a 486 Intel computer, which some of you could remember. And I worked from home. Later did I realize, 20 years down the road, now, I am working from home again. In 2000, I incorporated and formed Vision Video Works. And I could afford to hire 2 more staff and managed to rent a space in my friend's office. We had 3 desks and 3 computers. Then again, the next crisis happened. It was a SARS outbreak in Asia. Singapore was badly affected. Again, projects were affected and people were anxious of the situation. The key then to respond to the crisis was to diversify. We had to do something different. To diversify our services, we can bring in more work and attract a bigger client base. We set up a video department named Attic Films to go into animation and filmmaking. Then another crisis happened again. This time it was a global financial crisis. Singapore, being a financial hub, was severely affected. Jobs were again lost and the economy suffered and everybody had a very hard time. Again, the VMW group chose to respond by diversification. We set up Obelia and Blank, hired programmers and designers to do website and graphic design. In later years, we progressed to augmented and virtual reality. From 2008 to 2018, we further diversified by doing more R&D on technology and interactive work. Visualization services started to decline as more architects are able to do it in-house and there were cheaper alternatives from overseas. In 2019, we set up MAC, our latest entity, to do advertising work. Now we are able to offer a one-stop solution to our clients in all real estate marketing collaterals. That was our aim right from the start. Then again, the pandemic came. So what can we do next? So far, the Singapore government has stepped in to assist the industry in many ways. The idea is to use the downtime to train in preparation for better days. Grants for individuals and companies to upgrade their skill set and to learn. Grants to companies who are willing to adopt new technologies. Digitalization grants for brick and mortar companies to transform themselves. Innovation funding for disruptive technologies. The list goes on. For us in BMW Group, we have to grow, to learn, and to adapt to new skills in order to respond to crisis after crisis. The current pandemic will eventually pass. We will continue to diversify into areas that are outside of real estate in hope to attract a larger client base. And the areas that we identified so far are tourism, education, automobile and aviation, and medical. But the list is not exhaustive. The list will also go on. So a summary of events of what happened in our story so far of BMW. From 1998, Visual Works was started by myself. And in each subsequent crisis that we had to respond by diversifying our services. And first was Attic Films. And subsequently, it was Blank and Obelia. And lately, just recently, MAC, just before the crisis happened. So, just a short summary of our selected works. I just showed you just now the jewel, which was done quite recently. And we were fortunate enough to be part of this project as well. And the jewel Changi was actually nominated and named 2020, one of the 2020 Building of the Year award. So our collaboration for this project is actually to craft a marketing video based on a family's trip, a day trip to the jewel itself. So we did the whole CG and we did the whole in terms of animation and marketing video based on the script. So there are a lot of attractions within, and we tried to show off each attraction at its best. So what we did also was to film the family on green screen, craft the story around it, and compose them back into the CG. So these were some shots that we did for the jewel. Yeah, as you can see, we spent a lot of time in crafting the landscape. And you know, the rain vortex was one of the prime focus of the whole job. Yeah. Another project we recently did with another big group, big and Colorado Association, was Capital Spring. So this also was one of the most prominent projects in the Central Business District that's going to be completed in 2021. So what we did for these projects were quite, as I said earlier on, when we diversified, we went into different things. And this was one of the first jobs that we diversified into even a show suite experiential design with envelope architects. We choreographed all the spaces. We did a 360 panoramic holographic projection video. So it's all encompassing. We did projection mapping on the walls, and it's all controlled by iPad device through Wi-Fi. And we actually have a LED screen, a huge LED screen behind an interactive model where you can control the lights and you can control the screen and the content via an iPad device. And also we did the customized website design. So all in all, what we did for this project was bring the full force of VMW through its diversified groups of entities onto this project. Some of the other selected works, and we are fortunate enough over the years in the nation building of Singapore, we were involved in some iconic structures. Marina Bay Sands is one of them. Sculptura that was designed by Carlos Zapata. The Duo, designed by Ollie Shireen. Marina 1 by Egan Hoven. 18 Robinson, that was designed by KPF. 79 Robinson, that's designed by Gensler. And last but not least, Guacomi Town, the City of the Future, designed by Denton Cocker Marshall. So, thank you everybody for the presentation.
Okay, that is a really, really great presentation, Ongkit. And for you guys that want to know about the VMW group work, is actually all the Singapore is his work. Because everywhere I go, it's actually the building is been visualized by VMW group. Okay, guys, so let me know your biggest takeaway from the VMW group on the comment on the YouTube channel. And if you have any question for Ongkit, you can type on the chat as well. It's actually we have a delay on the YouTube. It's like a 10-second delay, I guess. So the takeaway from Oliver is never give up. Yes.
Yes, never give up. There's always a silver lining in every crisis.
Yeah.
Never
Well, actually, both of us having the same crisis because we are neighbor, Singapore and Indonesia. We always had the same crisis.
Same crisis, same boat.
Yeah, I remember that on 2008, I was really angry with myself because I'm not able to learn lots of things that time, and I miss a lots of opportunity on that crisis, because actually I always believe that on every crisis there will be a new opportunity, and you prove it. You got a lots of groups because you are trying to survive from the crisis.
Yes.
That's amazing.
To find a way through the dark days and hopefully to emerge stronger when the better day.
Guys, you can see Ongkit smile is really big it means there's no effect on the pandemic on him. Okay, so if you have any other question and other question, you can throw it on the comment. Okay, and let's continue with the third presentation from Rival, which is pre-recorded. Chaos team, please play the video.
Hello，各位亲爱的观众朋友们，大家好，欢迎来到 Chaos Group 的24小时直播节目。今天我们有幸请到了来自于中国西安的来福图形工作室的创始人刘亚茹老师，来与大家分享一下来福图形的作品和他们的创作理念。很多观众或许都关注过来福图形的微信公众号，我相信其中最令人印象深刻的就是他们使用 V-Ray for Sketchup 创作的手机壁纸系列图片。他们的每一期微信送都会受到大家热烈的欢迎。接下来，我们有请刘亚茹老师与大家分享一下来福图形的故事。
大家好，我是来福图形的创始人，还有主要负责人，我叫刘亚茹。我们在中国的西安，是一家建筑可视化领域内的图形图像的一个创意机构。同时我们也做一些技术推广，还有设计教育类的工作，这么一个自媒体。我们应该是 V-Ray 的长期用户了，因为用了很多很多年了，可能从很早的版本就开始用了1.x的那个时代，可能就在用。然后我就简单分享一下吧，应该是17年的年中差不多，还是年底开始的时候，我们开始用V-Ray for Sketchup 做了一些有意思的事儿，主要就是用来做一些手机的锁屏壁纸。因为我们也是这个建筑可视化这个领域里头，所以我们一开始做的这些内容基本上跟建筑的关系比较大，就是跟建筑相关。我们一张一张的来看一下，我会挑一些相对来说有意思的一些图，给大家讲一下背后的故事吧，或者创作的那个想法。这个应该是第一次做这个东西，当时我们是做了一个教程，实际上是开了一个教程，是教大家去运用 V-Ray for Sketchup 这个东西。可能过去的教程会千篇一律一点，就是会让大家觉得枯燥，学习嘛，会有一些不太爽快啊，不太好玩的地方。所以后来我们就想到一个办法，能不能把这个东西能运用到你喜欢的事儿里边去？所以我们就把它想着能做成一些手机壁纸啊，好玩一点的东西。那这个就是第一个作品，就是一个雪天的一个萨伏伊别墅啊。这个其实现在看起来我个人感觉都有一点，其实有点用力过猛了啊。就是这个也是3年前的东西了，不过这个好歹是一个开始啊，这个开始挺重要的。我们就从这张图开始做手机的锁屏壁纸这么系列。这个基本上就是第2章了啊。从第2章，这个灵感其实也蛮有意思的。我当时在看了一个电影啊，是一个中国香港的导演叫彭浩翔啊，他拍了一个电影叫《志明与春娇》啊，或者叫《春娇与志明》的一个系列。我觉得应该有小伙伴是看过的，有些朋友是看过的。然后当时我就对那种香港的城市就产生特别大的兴趣啊，我就看到一些图片啊什么的，然后我就脑海里边脑补了一下自己对香港的那种感觉啊，这个你懂的，就是感觉上的那种香港。其实我这个图完全是臆想出来的，就是觉得也许香港应该是这样的，它用开放的阳台或者是很低的客机划过天空的那种感觉。所以这是第二章做的一个壁纸。那个时候我就觉得我已经可以放飞自己的想象力了。到了第2章开始，我觉得我自己的想象力可能已经开始逐渐的被打开了，我开始越来越倾向于做一些有意思的好玩的东西。这个是第3章了，第3章基本上好像是个5月份的那张壁纸。当时我们做壁纸是每个月出一张，然后这个就也挺重要，因为这张图好像树立了很多信心给当时的一些伙伴啊。因为大多数的使用者，就是当年啊，大多数使用者其实对 SU 这个平台不是很有信心，也包括 SU 平台上的这个 V-Ray 不是很有信心。那个时候应该是2.0的2.0或者1.5啊什么的，我记不太清了。那个时代， 就是技术上会有一些门槛，你可能迈不过去，就是你可能大众的看法是很难在这个平台上做出一些能打动人的东西出来。确实那时候的版本是有些局限，所以我们就尽量的能够把它的 V-Ray 的一些优势尽可能的发挥出来，并且尽量规避一些也许当时他们做不到的事情。所以这个图面给了很多人的一个信心，就是路易康的这个著名作品啊，萨克尔生物研究所嘛。我们也很满意，其实我到现在也很喜欢这个。虽然看起来还有点幼稚，实际上它那个用色方面其实有点不满意，但是我还是挺喜欢的，就是能给人树立一种信心，我们可以用这么一个平台 SU 下的 V-Ray 去表达你心目中的好的东西啊，包括建筑什么的。然后这个图也很重要，对于我们来说，其实就是在来福发展了一段时间之后的一个节点，什么节点呢？就是我们可能遇到了一些困难，并且我们当时决定去做一些看起来很难的事儿，所以其实我们当时的状态并不好。然后那个节点，我们发了这张壁纸，刚好要到了做壁纸的时候了，所以我们做了一个66号公路这么一个壁纸。就是想表达那种勇往直前吧，就是路很长，但是我们勇往直前那种精气神儿，想表达这个特别自我，所以这个故事，这个图上表达的这种故事，这种所谓的在一个旅程，一个看不见尽头的旅程上，孤单的前行这么一种感觉，完完全全是来福自己的感受，所以这个图它的情感上的东西，我觉得已经非常爆棚了，就是对于我们来说，非常非常的，已经完完全全碾压过你要做的所谓的实际内容那种，就是一种很纯粹的表达，所以对于我们来说很重要。说到底，我们就是想跟我们的观众讲这么一个故事，我们的这个图背后的东西，我们的情绪啊，我们当时的状态，我们未来的期许啊，用一个这样的充满旅行旅程意义的一张图去表现。这是我们秩序系列的第一章，它的这个灵感其实是，我们都很喜欢的一部反乌托邦的小说，叫做《1984》啊，这个在全世界范围内都是非常非常非常出名的一本反乌托邦的小说。然后我当时在 P 站 Pinterest 上面看到了一张图，应该是一个丹麦的一个议会的办公厅还是什么，摆的非常整齐的椅子，当时就给我一种感觉，就是那种特别特别的那种有乌托邦的那种感觉啊，所以我们就把这个灵感给汲取过来，然后做了这么一张壁纸啊，取名为1984啊，就是一个跟秩序相关的这么一个理性的思考。这张图我多说两句。这张图因为我们特别特别喜欢，我们自己也很喜欢，我们的网友们也特别喜欢。这个是人类发现的第一颗脉冲星，就是 CP1919这么一个脉冲星球的一个信号，传回地球的这么一信号。原来有一个非常出名的乐队快乐分裂啊，英国的一支后朋克乐队，他们一张非常著名的专辑上使用了这个封面。使用这个图来做封面，所以我们从这两个事儿里头感受到了特别特别多的艺术和科学的冲击力，就是当你把艺术和科学这两个东西挂钩的时候，它往往会产生特别大的迸发出特别大的能量啊。所以这个事儿我们为什么喜欢？因为好像跟我们做的也有那么点关联。那我们本身是工程师、建筑师。我们做的是理性的东西，但是我们又很喜欢美的东西。我们会是一群把艺术和技术或者叫科学，然后结合在一起的人，所以这个其实也能反映出我们内心的一种状态。那么这张图，它最初的那个表现的样子应该是这个样子的，我给大家看一下。它最为人知的那个表现的样子应该是对，应该是这个样子的。这个是它广受流传的一个样子，然后后来我们把它完全的先是用 CAD 把它临摹了下来，完全的把它描摹成了一个CAD 的线形，然后呢用这个大家做模型，最后放在了我们的 SU 里头，然后使用 V-Ray 渲染的，给大家稍微看一下吧。我们等于用线条把它完整的给它描摹了一遍。 描摹一遍之后，然后把这些线条处理好之后，放在了我们的 SU 里头，把它做成了一个模型，然后就考虑一下它的表现方式是什么样，最终我们把它做成了一个，然后就做成了这样的一个小模型，然后在 V-Ray 下边进行的一个渲染。那其实你可以看到这些动作，每个人都可以做，都是一些很常规、很简单的一些想法。但最终我们就可以通过 V-Ray 这样的很好的创意工具，来把我们的想法变成一个很漂亮的一张壁纸啊。所以这张图我是个人非常非常喜欢的啊。这期是一个很勇敢的尝试，我们在这个平台底下做了一个前所未有的大模型。这个模型为什么大呢？这期主题叫做砖，因为我们的每一块砖都做出来了。你所看到的图面上的每一块砖都是实际的模型，我们完全把它做出来了。为什么要这么做？就是因为我们希望渲染的结果会是一个，就不是做凹凸贴图的那么一个简单的模样，而是一个更加贴近于真实的一个样子。同时，我们也在考验一种所谓的极限，就是我们能不能在相对来说简陋的平台 SU 和 V-Ray 啊 V-Ray for Sketchup 这个相对来说简陋的平台里边，能够尽可能的将我们的对于建筑表达的极限堆到什么程度，这也是我们想做的一件事儿。所以我们就没有去用凹凸贴图或者直换贴图去做这个砖墙，而是硬生生的把砖块一块一块做出来，然后加上贴图，然后再去在 V-Ray 里边渲染。结果是 V-Ray 并没有让我们失望啊，所以这个渲染出来的结果我们是非常非常满意的啊。所以你看到的每块砖都是一块一块的去垒起来的砖。最后我们把这个，当时我记得这个面数应该是5、6千万个面数吧，所有的面数加一块应该5、6千万，这个在 SU 平台已经是非常非常夸张的一个面数了。但是我们的软件还是帮助我们做到了，所以我说这是一个技术平民化的时代，就是软件是空前的友好，使用体验空前的棒，能给我们提供特别好的一些使用感受，所以你可以尽情的放飞你的想象力，去做一些可能你认为都不太好完成的事情啊。这个是最后秩序系列的最后一章，冥王星啊，冥王星，我们讲了一个很动人的一个小故事，基本上也用这个故事来影射一下，我们这个来福的自己的一些想法，其实这个想法，我们在做这些推广的过程中，刚开始还是觉得挺孤单的，因为有时候不能得到太多的共鸣，为什么？就是因为大家还是回到我刚才谈论的那个话题，就大家太过分的拘泥于，或者叫拘泥于技术本身，或者叫拘泥于一个平台本身，而忘掉了你的图。更重要的是在讲述一个好玩的故事，一个动人的故事。而当你去拘泥在技术表面上的时候，你又会被所谓的一些技术被吓倒，就导致你什么呢？你会觉得很多事情很难做。其实并不是，我刚才提了，现在技术平民的一个时代，这些软件的开发商已经帮助我们把一个艺术家所需要的技术门槛降到非常非常低了啊，剩余的就是你要用这个东西，用工具去讲一个好故事，就好比他们给你准备了一个非常棒的一个麦克，一个话筒，现在你要通过这个麦克，通过这个话筒，通过这个舞台去讲一个你真正想讲的故事。所以很多人如果理解不到这个层面上，那么对来福所做的事情可能就会感到困惑。我们那个时候也会觉得有点孤单，就我们肯定是渴望更多的共鸣的，所以我们就选了这个冥王星时刻。啥意思呢？也就是说，我们也有自己的冥王星时刻。什么意思？就冥王星一个非常非常孤独的小星星，在太阳系的9大行星，太阳系的最边界处，然后后来又被开除掉啊，被降格为一个矮行星，不再是一个行星的这么一个家庭，不属于行星了。它很孤单这么一个东西，但是它又是一个很特别的星星，它的样子是一个手捧着一个爱心的这么一个小家伙啊，所以有点像我们来福，就在做特殊的特别的事儿啊，但有时候会有点孤单，就是得到的回应是有限的，所以我们依然是用了一张图面去 给你做了表达，表达的就是我们内心的情绪和想说的一些话，表达了我们自己。那句话还是那句话，你的功夫要多多的下在图外，多看这个世界，然后敢于去表达。我们处在一个最好的时代，就是技术平民化的这么一个时代，技术的门槛在不断的降低，这些好的软件都已经为你准备好了，它都已经，而且不断的像 Visual 这么多年来这个版本号的迭代啊，一再的在更新他们的这种使用体验啊，技术方面的东西，这些东西都越来越简单，门槛越来越低，甚至都不再有门槛了。所以你为什么你有什么理由啊不去表达自己喜欢的东西呢？是吧？非常非常感谢，谢谢。
Okay, that's the really amazing presentation from Rival. And guys, let me know your biggest takeaway from the presentation from Rival. Let me share my biggest takeaway for this presentation. My biggest takeaway for this presentation is don't let anything be in the way between you and your dream. And Chaos Group make that happen. Lovely. Big things start with small steps. Loving the concept and exploration beyond rifle art. The only limit is our imagination. Impossible is nothing. Okay. Wonderful. Okay, so we are continuing with the next presentation, which is me. And I will do spontaneously, which is I don't have any slides. Just want to share what happened with us in Indonesia during the circuit breaker lately. So on September 2019, I was wondering. I'm trying to check on the 3D community in Indonesia, and somehow I'm kind of disappointed because the quality is not improved, while I'm hoping there are lots of improvement. I mean in ArchViz, on the 3D Indonesian community in ArchViz. And there are not many improvement for the past 3 years because I've been absent for 3 years in the community. And then I'm starting to contact some of the fellow artists, which is I know them for like 3 or 5 years ago, and then most of them still having the same problem, the same challenges, which is having a hard time to learn about the software, and at the same time they also have to struggle to make a living, and especially right now they of course is getting older and they starting to have a wife and kids, and of course those kind of things make everything really hard for them. So and then I'm thinking that on 2020, I'm going to be 40, and somehow I feel I need to do something with myself. I just want to make sure that I do something for the community and do something good for the rest of my life. And then I'm starting a movement. And somehow it happened with the Wuhan outbreak. And when the Wuhan outbreak, I also think that this is going to be bad, pretty much like SARS. And I aware that the crisis, economic crisis, going to always be repeated for every 10 years. So I think this is there are no better time than now to starting to green yourself and improve yourself. But the main aim is to make sure that the community is not focusing on the fear of having this circuit breaker, but I want to make sure they always keep positive by having a very positive and supporting and active community. And then I started the movement, and starting with we created a free tutorial using 3D Max and Corona. We already shared it on our YouTube since March, and then we also create like a portfolio online review, which is the three panelists, which is Iwan, Rio, and also Reza, is always helping me with the movement and the online review. And then we also having like a business. We are starting on a business and mindset YouTube live on every Thursday, which is actually today should be happen, and we have to cancel for this event. And we create all of those kind of things just to make sure all the community having a positive thinking, and they know where to go, because most of the artists, they are focusing on the art, but forgetting about the business and the mindset things. So I think it is really good if we can give them a support by giving a business, the basic business and the basic mindset, so you can so they can improve their quality of life. And the good news is some of them is actually contact me and say, one of them like 6 months ago actually told me, okay, I'm not on the good condition on the 6 months ago, and somehow last week he contacted me and say, hey Reinaldo, can you help me with some advice how to build a team? How do you feel about that? And he said, I got all the business and the mindset from your live YouTube live, and it was amazing. It's life-changing, and somehow now I can build my own team. I'm not worrying about money, and that's happened during this circuit breaker. And one of them is also contacted me and say, what you are sharing is actually helping me to change all of my business service, and I'm starting to get big project in Indonesia, which is that can you imagine how I feel? Like, I mean, like, that's really mind-blowing, that I never thought that what we are going to do, what we are already did, is going to help people until like that far. But definitely I'm going to moving forward with those kind of business and mindset talk on every Thursday. So if you are interested to also to be on the live, you can subscribe to our channel, 2G Studio. Just type 2G Studio on the YouTube, or you, my team will share the link on the comment. And around next week, we are going to start with the English version. So I think because I know probably it's quite terrible because I'm not having any slide. It just, we are on the 8 shows, and then there are lots of big companies before us. It's actually already give a lots of inspiration on the artistic side. Okay, so the next thing that I want to share with you that if you are a beginner or getting started in this industry, and if you are having a like wondering how to get clients, actually you are not supposed to be to get client. You can attract the right client by having a value. So I believe that your value is what you are believe in this industry. I know ArchViz is going to change my life. It's not just going to change my life, it's already changed my life. So I want to show you this one. If you can see this image, this photo is actually my factory was burned out on 16 years ago. It's actually November 3rd, 2004. And somehow the fire only left me with $100,000 US loan. So 100,000 US loan is not small money. That is a big money for someone that just lost everything. And then I'm starting to work on the furniture company, and then I learned V-Ray and 3D Max on 2008 that time, and somehow I fell in love, and I got inspired by one of the senior artists, which is it happened to be he is also become my mentor, which is Nelson Liao, and he changed all the my mindset and the way I look things, because he is a very artistic person, while I am civil engineering. So I love to use all about numbers, and he teach me how to approach things through art. And then I know that this industry going to change my life, and I always believe that this I always put it on my head until it's on my subconsciousness brain, and then I fight very hard to fix my life. And my biggest why is to make sure that my wife and my kid not having the same suffering that I got on 2004, and I just want to make sure that they have a better living than my life previously. So that's the why, and I put a lot of value to grow my company, which is we have 3 values, and then the movement that we did in Indonesia is also based on this value. The first value is respect, right? The first value is respect, and by respecting yourself, you are respecting your client. And then the second value is to encourage. You need to always encourage yourself, and you need to encourage others. And then the last one is to inspire everyone around you. And when I mean value, it means it should be a verb, not just a noun. You have to take action. And if it's action, you need to do it first and start from you. So give or find a value that reflect yourself, and just print it like this, which is in our office. This value is actually everywhere. Just print it everywhere and then put it on the wall. If you go to the toilet, we also put it in front of the toilet, on the door, and then behind the door as well. So if they go out from the toilet, they want to open the toilet, they're going to read the value as well. So, and this value going to be your company culture, and it's going to reflect on your activity, and it's going to be noticed by the future client. And remember that the last thing that I want to share with you, you only need one client that believe yourself and believe in your company, and they will make you fly. So that happened to me on my furniture factory, and it happened to me in this industry. And this client always keeps supporting us, and this client also can understand when we screw up on the first project, and always give us a lots of opportunity, and because he believed in our value. So if you want to make a fortune in this ArchViz industry, and you believe that this industry can change your life, just like mine, just like Evan, always believe that you only need one client. You only need one client. From now, if you are really moved with this, just put in a hashtag on every of your every post on your social media, right? You are one client away. Okay, one client away. Okay, this is my mentor, Nelson Liao. He is here. Thank you very much for changing my life as well. And he actually designed my house. Thank you very much. So let me know in the chat, what is your biggest takeaway? And then we can continue with the panelist discussion. Yes, go motivated to the toilet as well. Yeah. Because the value should be repeated. You need to be always keep that value in mind, and then it's going to like a hypnotic things. It's going to be your action. Okay, so we are going to continue with the panelist discussion and the Q&A. Okay, so everyone, I want to introduce you to the, you want the setup like mine. I give you, this is just for 65-inch TV. It's not touch. It's not touch though. You can touch, but nothing happened. But I know in VMW have the smart TV. I know. It's really it's too bad that you cannot present the project that you show me on your office. That's a really nice project. Okay, so I want to introduce you to the first panelist, which is always supporting me on all my movement. I welcome you, Reza, from Kun Visual, and Kun Visual is actually also a very good friend of mine, and he also inspired lots of people in Indonesia and around the world, and he built the Kun Visual company on 2017, I guess. Is it right?
2017. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, 2017, and it's actually a very very young company, which is also in ArchViz.
Actually, yeah, almost
Yeah,
4 years.
and yeah, almost 4 years. Okay, so do you have any question or any suggestion for the audience, Reza?
Maybe first I want to talk about what we are doing to helping Reinaldo to doing their movement. Yeah, when I saw he going to my office and talking about what is the movement for Indonesian 3D artists, actually I am very proud and helpful because that's what we are doing also. But before last year, I don't know about Reynaldo first because yeah, maybe we don't really get in touch at that time. But during the movement, it's in about 6 months until now. Yeah, that's really a lot of improvement to the Indonesian 3D artists. Yeah, as you say that the artist is just know about the rendering itself, how to improve the quality like that, but they don't care about the business, they don't care about the mindset, they don't care about what can I living in here, can I living as professional 3D artist. That's when this movement by this movement, I saw there is a lot of difference between last year and this year's. For example, I can see that when I asked to some people in there, "Hey, how is the price of your image?" For example, okay, my image is just $15 like that, and they just okay with that. As you can see, it is not normal like that. So Indonesian people is really what you can say. Maybe it's nice, but they don't really care about the business. But when we see the movement, it's going to be better in Indonesia. I think that's my opinion to helping Reynaldo during the day movement.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Any question for? I thought you have a question before.
Yeah, actually, I already see the chat and
Okay.
Mr. Daniel already answering it. So basically, you don't have a problem with the project, right? During the COVID-19, that's what I'm also it that also what happened in my studio also. So basically, we are similar because we are visualization company also, but you are more focusing on animation. Yeah, the client is not gone. They keep doing the project. And yeah, maybe we are same, maybe Ronaldo also same, but maybe some of the small company or freelancer get their job decreased like that, but I don't know.
Now, I think I can add on that. Yeah, the question is, do we have project cancellation or we have deferred payment on the during the pandemic? Of course, there are several things that we need to look at. But as I mentioned on my presentation, the demand is increasing because more broadcaster and streamers now needs more content, and that's actually opportunity for animation studio to produce more.
I think that's really correct and happened to us also. The client is changing from still image and they're more doing animation nowadays. Yeah, that's why COVID maybe giving us a bless maybe like this. That's what my opinion. Maybe anything any question for any panelists?
Okay, probably we can move for continue with the uh, Rio. Okay, so the second panelist that I want you to introduce you is Rio Febrian. He actually started just he started the company just 2 years after I uh, established 2G Studio, and he established Polynix on 2013. And what makes me very jealous of him because he live in Bali and I live in Surabaya, and that's why I moved to Bali. And then and somehow when we are in Bali, we never met until now. So I owe you a visit. Next week. Next week. Okay, so
Okay.
Rio is very talented artist. He also got lots of visualization pro of the week from GG Architect, and he also got a very inspiring story. He was trying to go to Middle East, I guess that time, right? And then I say to him, "Well, hey, bro, you have a kid and you have a wife. Try to get this visualization pro of the week, and then you probably will get a better job." And boom, he got a big company in Bali. And probably you can share some story about it.
Okay, hi guys. Nice to see you all. Thank you for this opportunity. And I think what I is thanks Rinaldo. I think yeah, we in Southeast Asia we have a lot of artists, especially in Indonesia. A lot of artists. There is a group in Indonesia contain of more than 20,000 of 3D artists in Indonesia only. But in this, since I know, since I learned the rendering until now, it's like 10 years. Until now, we need still in Indonesia, especially most of the 3D artists need, improvement in terms of skill and the mindset. So I think the movement of the artist improvement that Rinaldo said in their presentation, I think that is a good things to do, because once we have improved ourselves, then we start to have a good life. Start with the mindset and then skill and then growing business. Okay, I would like to ask questions. I was amazed by Mr. Daniel Harjanto. Actually, Polynix is a small studio which is located about 2 kilometers away from Bali Brownbag Films. I have actually visited your studio about in 2017, I think. Me and my team, I looked around your studio, and I amazed by hundreds of 3D artists there. I would like to ask, in the normal situation, not in this pandemic, what is the biggest challenge to manage, between the modeling team and animation team, and then to post-production team, and how is the quality control platform?
Okay, thanks, Rio. The key to that is actually respect. If you know that making animation film or any shows, it requires a lot of teamwork. So you need to respect other people's works. You need to understand they are also working hard to make your life easier. Like you said, There's a modeler, rigger, texture artist, matte painter, animators, lighting artists, render artists, compositor, editor. They have to work all together. To build a good team, of course, first you need to lead by example. You need to show that you respect everyone. It doesn't matter whether you are a CEO, whether you are the boss, but you need to talk with even with the lowest office boy. That's communication philosophy that we have. Communication is flat. Everyone can talk to anyone. So the other things that we need to understand also when we do teamwork, there will be difference. Nobody or no two people exactly have same attitude, same interests completely. They will be different.
Kurang berapa menit?
To understand the different and to respect the different is also important. Someone easily,
Belum
for
masuk
example,
ke
someone are easygoing, but the other one probably not that
udah ada.
easygoing. So it is true running. We found bases actually on 2015. So it's not that old. It's also a young company. It's only 5 years. It's only 5 years. We start with 3 people. 8 people actually in June 2015.
I visit your studio when you are still in the Pura Demak.
Yes,
Jalan Pura Demak.
It is only 8 people we start. Then we end up with more than 240 something. Actually, the maximum is 316 people.
Guys,
That's
we should make
2018.
everyone jealous by having a reunion in Bali.
Yeah, that's let's do it.
Let's visit Mr. Daniel at his house in Jimbaran. And let's remove Reza and Iwan from the meeting. They're from Bandung, actually.
Yeah, and we move to the Bali.
You should move to Bali.
So, is that okay, Rio? The answer?
Yeah, yeah. That's thank you, Mr. Daniel.
Wait a second. I want to announce for the show 8 prize winner. Before I continue with the other question, for the raffle winner is Emily Zhang from Singapore, and the hashtag 24 hours of chaos winner is Guillermo Del Rio from Twitter. The Twitter is Memo Renders. Okay. So congratulations for the winners. If you don't want to get the license, just contact me. I will gladly to get your license. Okay, so any other question, Rio, for Mr. Daniel?
I think that's all.
Okay, so let's continue with the third panelist, which is Iwan Wijaya. Iwan Wijaya is also an ArchViz company, but one of the interesting things of Iwan Wijaya is he actually a smaller version of VMW Group. Okay, so so Iwan Wijaya is also from Bandung, which is next. The studio is really near with the Kun Kun Visual Office, still in one city though. Okay, so Iwan, you probably have any question or opinion or even thoughts that you want to share with everybody around the world.
Okay. Is the voice clear?
Yes, but you need to raise your voice a little bit.
Okay. Okay. First of all, thank you very much for this opportunity. Compared to Rio and Reza as the panelists, I feel like an ant beside three big elephant. Talking about what we discussed today, the movement the ArchViz ID, the timing, I don't know. It's so perfect. I think. I don't know if Reinaldo is prophet or what, but one thing I know, his sense is great. You have very great sense for the timing. Indonesian community in this ArchViz industry needs this movement. I think the DNA, the artistic sense is there. I feel like almost anyone I know that learn about 3D things, they have a very great understanding of artistics. But one thing that is lost in this community, I think, is the business mindset. And that's why when you come over and talk about business and mindset, it's a life-changing moment, I think. It's very answering what we need right now because I know Reinaldo is one of Simon Sinek's biggest fans, and he always saying start with why repeatedly. And that things is what this kind of life-changing moment. I repeatedly say life-changing moment because that's what me a firm reason and believe that this industry can change our life in Indonesia especially. Also, I would like to thank Mr. Daniel, Mr. Lee, and any other speakers for these eye-opening things. For Mr. Daniel, it's an eye-opener to know how big Brownbag film is. Uh, in individual level, we know certain names like Mrs. Rini with his Rin Tin Tin animation, but it's another things in studio level. And I'm really waiting forward to hear more from Mr. Daniel about how he can make a collaboration with others for city in the world and building big studio like that. Also, Singapore is one of our closest neighbor, and the business ecosystem I believe is connected tightly. Uh, Struggling from one crisis to another, I'm also very inspired by how Mr. Lee can sustain and make his company bigger and bigger each time he pass the crisis. Anyway, that's my what I think and what I hear from all of this session.
Okay, so I noticed that you actually have a question for Mr. Lee.
Mr. Daniel, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What's your question?
For Mr. Daniel, Brownbag film is spread in 5 countries, and I want to ask, with those kind of difference, 5 country, it means 5 culture, and I just want to know what's the secret when you can make Brownbag film landed in Bali. That's the first question, and the second, the cultural diversity, the communication. Uh, how did you manage that and still working with such a good productivity? Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ivan. I think one of the key things here is again your dedication on the work. Brownback Films, when I found Base is our client, we work for service for them. We can deliver what they need, what they want. We never miss our delivery. That's something. So starting from that, you know each other. It's like a marriage. The longer you know each other, the easier you can bond together. So again, based on trust, based on respect, when you gain trust from your partner, it is easier to work together. But again, as a company with more than 1,000 people around the world, yeah, there are there are diversity. So we have a committee that handle as a global task force for that. It's a global cultural task force. which handle all issue to blend all the culture between each location. That's something that we need to have some group of people thinking about what to do and how to plan each other. I think again, for me, is when you dedicate your work, your life to your work, it's not that difficult to get trust from other, as long as you can deliver. Thank you.
Okay, so is there any other question from the audience for the speaker? Or I think Reza was having a problem with the internet previously. If you have any other opinion and probably advice or even question for the other speaker.
Yeah, actually, maybe I have a question for Mr. Hong Kitli. Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I was following VMW for the last few years, maybe about 8 years. You already do the visualization. Yeah, when I already graduate, I already saw your image, and it's really nice. Then, and most of the developer in Indonesia using also your service, right? So maybe it's a little bit. I really want to know about how you manage the rendering style to match the expectation of the developers in Indonesia, maybe, because when we see nowadays there is a lot of rendering style, because what VMW do is kind of post-production style, right? And that really match to the Indonesian culture. They really love the activities, they love the color like that, and different with the realistic style. Maybe in the last 8 years, how you managed to find the style that match to the market like that. Maybe that will teach us about, okay, that's the the keyword that you found to manage the business. Maybe that's my question actually. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reza. Yeah. So I think I came from a background. I mean, I studied architecture, but at the same time, I love to draw. So I started drawing when I was really young. I started drawing comics. I started actually from an art background. And coming to university, I guess choosing architecture was actually by default. So that's the only course which I could continue drawing. So I think it's a love of drawing and a love of art. So when I graduated and I started work, I brought this love and passion along with me. The advice I could give is actually to look at nature and also to combine to look at art. So when you look at nature, you look at how the mood, you look at the colors of nature,
Yeah.
look how natural things are, and then you combine it with an art background. So you need to be exposed to various form of art. I got myself exposed from right from the art from the 19th century, from to impressionism to down to the recent like realism, hyperrealism. So if you look at art and you look at photography, you look at how other people compose in terms of their shots. So from there you learn. So from there you learn and you develop a style of your own. And from how you appreciate nature, how you appreciate materials, you want to combine both of them. So you could develop your own style. So from my own is through all this training and through all this guidance from others is that I managed to work with my team to create a certain style that fortunately everybody seems to respond to it and seems to kind of appreciate it. So I guess that is one of the so-called advantages that we have. Yeah. So based on what I said, right, it's just how you learn and how you can appreciate the things that are around you. In that sense, you could develop a style of your own. I hope that answered your question, Mr. Rizal.
Yeah, that's answering. Sorry. Yeah, it's good answering. Thank you very much for your answer, and keep rendering.
Okay, there's a question from Pluma Digital SaaS, and he asked, how do you improve your business so fast? So probably, I think the best question, the best speaker to answer is Hong Kit. You can help me to answer. How do you improve your business so fast?
Well, I think from the presentation just now, it's either you live or you like die by the sword. So what we do here is that, I mean, it's a chicken and egg thing, because as far as we want to plan things ahead of time, certain events are kind of pushed by fate and pushed by coincidence along the way. So I would want to tell everybody that I do planning. I do plan in 5 years' time what I'll do. I do plan how my business will survive and how it will progress. But unfortunately, as far as I could plan, things happen. As what I have so-called, like just now with I so-called talked to about. So from what I could say is that fortunes favor the brave. So I think that if you dare to kind of like take the first leap, and in a way to believe in yourself that things will eventually turn out all right, then I would say to you that please go ahead. Because if you don't try, you'll never know. So, in order to grow your business, you take risks and manageable risks. So you need to decide and tell yourself what's the worst thing could happen to you. What's the worst thing? So you look at the worst thing and you say, that's not so bad. If that thing happened to me, I'll still survive. I'll still fight for another day. So in that sense, you would have lose that kind of fear that you have. And soon you know that if you look at it, things like you would think that you will succeed 100%, maybe not. If you can succeed maybe 80%, that might be a stepping stone for you to move on. Yeah, to do better things. I hope that answered the question, Reinaldo.
Okay, thank you for answering Pluma Digital, and I think we are running out of time for the Q&A. So this is the time to play our 2G showreel. So Chaos Group team, can you please play the video before we close the event? too much project, because we believe that if you want to attract your client, you need to put your value first and make sure that your company culture is always to be shown, which is this actually also got a lot of influence from Mr. Daniel showreel, which is showing all the team how they work with the communal area, which is really nice. Because I mean, like, there are tons of words showreel out there. If you want to be stand out, you need to post your. It's the best thing is to put your value on the video. So guys, before we close the event, just make sure that you always start with why you want to be in industry, and make sure you always put the value and hold on your belief until the client will, and until you will get the client that believe what you believe. Okay, so for the closing, and thank you for all the speakers that come for this event, and I can really thank you enough for supporting this event, and all the Chaos Group team for supporting us for the show 8, and especially Nigel and all the other Chaos Group team. Thank you very much.